All right, take two. Raindrop fell on my phone and cut my video off. But what I was trying to say is this is not the video I wanted to make, because I wanted to make a video about my last attempt, or I detoxed, but my attempt at the 30-day rehab just went poorly, and I've got a story or essay or something brewing in my head. That's the one I wanted to make. But something happened to me yesterday. It didn't happen to me. It happened to my nephew. And now I got two videos or two stories or two essays swirling around in my head. And this one just, when I heard about it, it just brought back a super emotional wave of memories that I had kind of locked up inside of me and forgotten about. But 25 years ago, at least, it's not scotch and it's not vodka. I'm working on that. But 25 years ago, I separated from, I was unmarried, separated from a woman that, I still love and care for and consider her a friend to this day. Uh, we had our son together, and obviously the separation brought about the issues of custody. Where is our son going to live? What schools? Everything becomes about the best interest of the child, as it should be. And it was extremely difficult for both of us. That process of custody and the legal system, custody hearings, and none of that shit's fair. It's all emotional and taxing. But she and I, through even our arguments and failings and crying and yelling, we always acted like adults, and we always kept the best interest of the child out front, because that's the sneaky, like the word sublime thing about custody battles, is it's easy to forget what it is you're trying to do. It's really easy to become about yourself. Well, that's my son. Well, he's my son. I want this and you want that. It ends up being I, and not he. So that's the real key and challenge, is being able to, sometimes just put your pride away and stop acting like it's a battle for a piece of property, or a battle for your own perceived identity. The battle is always putting the interest of the child first. And as I said, it was probably, again, one of the most difficult experiences of my life. But she and I behaved as adults, as we should have. And after much discussion and, again, arguing and crying and whatever, we came to an arrangement that we both could live with. The particulars don't matter, but when the day came to go to court, we went in there and we knew we were in control of our destiny. We were in control of the best interest of the child because we kept that right to ourselves because we acted like adults. And we went into the courtroom knowing what the arrangement was going to be. And when we went before the judge, he looked over his glasses and he took his glasses off and he paused for a moment, and he congratulated us. I mean, he said he's been doing this for years, custody hearings, custody issues. And he said he's never had two parents come in there and agree to everything. And all he had to do was just sign the arrangement, which is how it should be. Because you don't want to ever give up the right to your child or the right to be a part of his experience or future. You don't want to leave that decision in the hands of the court, the judge, or someone who has no interest whatsoever personally in your life or the welfare of your child. He's got to make decisions if you can't, if you're unable to act like an adult, act like a parent, and keep the best interests of the child in the forefront, then somebody else will make those decisions for you. And they are never good and they're never fair. So 25 years later, my nephew is going through the same thing. He was out of wedlock and he had a child, and hence begins the custody issue. Um, and it has not gone nearly as well as my hell went. Um, it's been dragged out, and one thing led to another. It's been about as bad as it could be. I mean, I'm sure it could get worse. It can get worse for sure, but it is. From what I know about it, the courts have already been involved, and for one reason or another, the mother is allowed. I don't want to misspeak, but I think she's allowed one or two or what. She's allowed 3-hour supervised visitation with her son. I believe that's because one of the two parties is not behaving as an adult, and one of the two parties is not thinking about, let's all say it together, the best interest of the child. What is in the best interest of the child? That is what led this poor young mother to the scenario where she gets to see her son for 3 hours supervised. She's giving her power away by behaving the way she's behaving, whatever that may be. So, according to the court mandated custody arrangement now, my nephew goes to the 3-hour visitation. The court papers say no one else is to interact. It is between the mother and the father and the child, period. So he goes to the location that they have agreed upon. And, I wasn't there, I didn't see it, but my understanding is there was someone else there, and that someone else was the grandfather. I don't know exactly how it went down, but apparently the grandfather, who wasn't supposed to be there at all, came and got the baby and put it in the mother's car. So my nephew, as I gather, reacting like any normal father would, attempted to protect his son. And from what I understand, he either made contact, hit the grandfather, or attempted to hit the grandfather. To which the grandfather beats the ever living shit out of my nephew. I believe he broke his cheekbone or jawbone, broke his nose, had to stitch up the whole inside of his mouth. God only knows what ribs or what's happened to the rest of his body. But beats the hell out of him. They get in the car and leave with the child. Not part of the court mandated arrangement. And they don't return. And they still have the child. I didn't want to get too off topic, but just to give everyone an idea of why you do not want to go down this path. If you ever get in a custody situation, be an adult and always keep the best interest of the child in the forefront. Because as a layman, an uncle or whatever, I'm like, well, you just go arrest the guy for malicious assault and you go get the child back because they've broken the court order. They're kidnapping. That's me thinking. But the law, the legal system, courts, they don't think like us lowly rational humans. They think some other way. I called a cop friend of mine going, what in the hell is going on? My nephew went to the magistrate and got a protective order against the grandfather and the mother to not be in contact with the child, which they're in possession of. So they've already broken the protective order. But the cops go to the house, serve the protective order to the grandfather and the mother, to my understanding, knowing the child is in there, but they cannot remove the child, even though the protective order is broken when they hand it to them. That's because in the legal system, they have to go back to the magistrate or judge and say, this has occurred. Then the magistrate or judge, to my understanding, has to issue a bench warrant to go arrest or retrieve or whatever the case may be. It's my illustration is it's totally screwed up. They got the child going on 2 or 3 days now. They say they're not bringing him back. Uh, Courts are closed. Everything's at a standstill, apparently. Um, but I don't blame my nephew, even if he did take a swing or start the altercation, because in his mind he was thinking of the best interest of the child. He was trying to protect his son. He was trying to protect his son from someone who had no business even being there and kidnapping his son. But I saw the pictures of my nephew, and it just, I don't know, it really upset me. I guess the good news is I didn't go grab a bottle because I wanted to. I did get a beer. Um, and I was thinking when I saw the pictures of him beat up, bloody, and bruised, I said that could have been me back when, if we had not acted as adults or fabricated incidents or lies, or because there were there were four brothers whom I love dearly to this day. Nice nice bunch of brothers, but probably the meanest badasses in Palatine County you could find if you cross up on them. And if the mother of my son and myself had not behaved the way we did, I could have had four brothers and they could have beat the shit out of me at any given moment. Um, so I guess in the end, in a weird sort of way, we all should be thanking the grandfather and the mother for their poor behavior, because they're just giving their rights away. They're giving they're giving away their power or the ability to be a part of the child's life because of the way they're acting. So I know it hurts. I know how bad it hurts when you get your ass kicked. I've been there. And I know how bad it hurts when you're trying to protect your family or your son or whoever, and you're unable to do it. But payback is a bitch. And payback is not always an eye for an eye. And I purely mention it. I mention it because the payback for beating my nephew's ass and behaving the way they did in the end may be you're no longer a part of that child's life. You're no longer a mother with free access to your child. And you're no longer a grandfather who can build a future and influence that child's life. That's payback. And that's where they're headed. Courts aren't fair. If you don't keep the best interest of the child in front of you, the court's going to make those decisions for you. And you're going to regret that behavior in your decisions for the rest of your life. And one day that child is going to grow up and he's going to find out that his grandfather disobeyed a court order and beat his father to a pulp. And he's going to look to his father and with great admiration think about how much love it took for his father to step up. Because I don't know the grandfather. I saw a picture of him. And I hope I never, ever have to have a physical conflict with that guy. Because he looks like one big badass Marine. I mean, 140 pounds soaking wet. This guy looks like he's 250 and bench presses all day long. So I guess I would just suggest to him next time he feels the need to defend himself while doing a kidnapping, consider the idea that some of these people know how to defend themselves. And some of them have an equalizer. I don't wish violence on anybody. And I wish the two of them, the two adults, could work it out, not give their power to the judge. But it seems like we've gone beyond that now. But if you're fighting a battle for custody and you've spent some time in a mental institution, or you've spent some time in a hospital on suicide watch, or you've broken the court ordered custody arrangement and possibly committed malicious wounding, assault, I kind of got the feeling you don't have the best interest of the child at heart in front of you. I'm not even sure you have the best interest of you in front of you. And I really, honestly, I feel sorry for you because you're just giving away your power to everyone. You're giving it away to your grandfather, you're giving it away to the courts. I mean, you're just giving it away. It's unfortunate. Try try thinking about what's best for the child and not what's best for you or your friends or your father or your mother or whoever the hell else is influencing you. Think about the child. And in that process, think about yourself and where you are mentally and physically. Start thinking about the child and you will stop having decisions made for you. All right, that's it. I guess I got that off my chest.